Hi, how are you? My name is Houston and welcome back to another video. Dude, how about those game awards? Look, I know that we shouldn't take them that serious. Like, don't get too attached to who's winning, who's losing, blah, 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 blah. All I'm going to say is that gaming is in a great state right now. It's been in a great state. And honestly, it's only going to get better. To quote the title of Jev's latest video, the future is looking bright. The gaming community is in a funny place right now. There are so many people that just continue to buy into yearly slop like this game or Madden or whatever. Pick your iteration that doesn't really seem to reinvent itself as much as it claims to. There is a place for these games. I'm playing it right now, obviously. Like I've said many times on this channel, we need to convince the people that we love in our lives to play more single player games, especially with the announcements that we just got. Obviously, the elephant in the room here, Elden Ring, Night Rain. Dude, what are they cooking over there? I, for one, am all for From Software experimenting and trying new things, especially when those experimentations are trying to get at another player base. So in this case with Night Rain, it seems very much inspired by, and it is a roguelike or roguelite. Let's be honest though, if it's FromSoft, it's probably going to be more on the like side rather than the light side. As someone with limited knowledge surrounding roguelikes, I'm not gonna act like I'm somebody with some supreme knowledge on roguelikes or anything like that, because I think the only one that I've really played is Hades, and I have yet to play the sequels to that. But when we look at the trailer for Night Rain, we see something that looks like a battle royale gas in it. It closes in on you, and it's stage based. So you have your character going through 3 days worth of stages, and at the end of each stage there's a boss, and at the end of it there will obviously be a boss that is a challenge that only From Software can give us. Nameless King was in the trailer. We had the Firekeeper in the trailer. Night Rain is apparently the child of Junya Ishizaki, who was the battle director on Elden Ring and has been with FromSoft since Dark Souls. I guess based off that article on PC, whoops, I'm so sorry, on PC Gamer Mag, he kind of floated the idea of something like this to Miyazaki, and Miyazaki was like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. And then he just greenlit it, but he told Ishizaki to just do the whole thing himself, direct it himself, instead of Miyazaki stepping into that director role like he normally does. And that's really interesting because to me, that says a couple things. One, obviously FromSoft wants to expand and try new things like they've done with previous games. I mean, it's so beloved now, but when you look back at like Sekiro, for instance, that game was way out of left field. The gameplay loop in it was a pretty big departure from what so many of us were used to with the Souls series and Bloodborne. And then another thing it says to me is that if Miyazaki is willing to sort of put that off onto somebody else, one, he trusts them to do a good job, and two, he's probably working on something else. I mean, I'm not really sure if I can ever put my trust into Miyazaki ever again, just because when asked about Elden Ring, he literally said that they had no further plans for any sort of DLC or any more content related to Elden Ring. So yeah, he's a liar. It'll be really cool to see FromSoft's take on a roguelike. I'm really excited for it. I think it's a good opportunity for a lot of new players to sort of experience what FromSoft can craft for their players. And as an obvious FromSoft fanboy myself, I'm just I'm always excited for anything that they put out. We got Witcher 4 being dropped, and I know it's going to be a great game because it's got all the culture war morons mad. They're saying Ciri looks like a man. They're saying it's woke. They just say everything's woke these days. I don't know. They have like 3 brain cells. But I mean, if you played Witcher 3, which I haven't beat Witcher 3, but I played enough of it to know that Geralt literally like passes the whole like identity and the role of being a Witcher onto Ciri. So I don't know, man. I think it just, to me, when people get mad at stuff like that, it really just calcifies the whole idea that all these people that get mad at this shit, that perpetuate the culture war bullshit, like they don't actually play video games. Because those same exact people are also calling the new Intergalactic trailer, that game from Naughty Dog, woke because the character is a person of color and she has a shaved head. Dude, one of the most badass people, two of the most badass people in media, mostly film history, Sigourney Weaver as Ripley in the first Alien, and dude, Charlize Theron as Furiosa in Mad Max Fury Road. Come on, man. Again, these people don't actually engage with media. They don't care about stories. All they do is care about rage bait, and all the bullshit, the clicks, the paychecks that come with getting interactions online, like on Twitter, for instance. I think we as a society need to just like shun these people and completely just keep them out of the loop on anything media related, because at the end of the day, like, they're not adding anything constructive to the conversation. But let's be honest, that's pretty much what a lot of the internet is these days. It's just completely unqualified people saying things just to get a reaction out of it. Nobody wants to have constructive conversations anymore, which is fine to a point. You know, I'm not saying that everything needs to be a philosophy conference, but at the end of the day, if we're actually going to engage in anything related to our culture, then why are we letting people like this have any sort of voice? Anyway, with that nonsense being said, I think Intergalactic looks cool. Obviously inspired by like Cowboy Bebop and Kira. Awesome classic staples in the cyberpunk and like retro futuristic genre. I really enjoy what Naughty Dog does. I haven't yet made my way through all the Uncharted games, but I've played 1 and 2. Obviously, I've played both Last of Us games. I think they are fantastic. They are masterpieces, especially the gameplay in 2. I think that it is some of the best stealth gameplay I've ever seen, and I think that Naughty Dog understands what it means to like create a fun gameplay loop. It'll be interesting to see what they do with a game like Intergalactic, because they marketed it as a new franchise, so obviously they're trying to build out a new world. We have a lot of sci-fi games these days, so it'll also be interesting to see how they differ their take on it from something like Cyberpunk. Apparently they've been working on it for like 4 years, so yeah, I mean, I'm sure there will be an incredible amount of polish on the game. RGG, or whatever the studio that makes Yakuza is, they're working on a new Yakuza type game called Project Century, or it's probably outside of the Yakuza universe, but it's that same kind of like beat 'em up type game, but it seems to be in more of an old-fashioned Japan. As someone who's getting into those games now, I'm pretty excited for that. Oh, and so I've always known what Onimusha is, but I've never actually played those games myself. But dude, when I tell you that I thought FromSoft was dropping a trailer for a Sekiro sequel, I got baited so hard. If you saw the Onimusha trailer, there are like red orbs that almost look like souls, and they're kind of like floating around, and then they all coalesce on this thing that looks like an idol from Sekiro that functions as a bonfire. And I was like, oh, okay, normally they're blue like in Sekiro, but maybe they're red, like it has to do with the dragon's reincarnation or whatever. If you played Sekiro, you know what I'm talking about. When that ended up not being Sekiro, dude, I was like, oh my god, man. I don't know what the Onimusha games are like, so I'm not gonna say that that'll be bad or anything, but I got baited. New Borderlands trailer looked cool. Obviously we didn't really see much from it, but it looks like Borderlands. I played 2 and 3, but it's been quite a long time since I even got into those. I always really enjoyed them though. A game that took me by surprise was Turok. I haven't played Turok in like, god dude, like 20 years. Seeing a trailer for it kind of like unlocked a memory that I totally forgot I had. It is funny too, because I don't remember as much futuristic technology being in Turok, but I'm pretty sure it was always in it. It's just that in the older games, the graphics were so bad that it was hard to distinguish between, you know, like a normal gun or something like that with something that was more future oriented. So when I was watching that trailer, I was just so confused. I was like, dude, why do they have so much like technology? Something that was really cool was that the armor on one of the characters like shifted, and it had a bunch of properties on it that seemed like they probably pulled it from like raptor DNA or just dinosaur DNA. So yeah, that'll be interesting. I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna play it or not, but I just think that it was really cool how it brought back a memory from so long ago. Just to bring up Naughty Dog again, dude, at first I was so mad at them because I saw Last of Us and I'm like, dude, another remaster. What are we doing here? It's like remastered for PC and then remastered for PS5 Pro and then remastered for PS6, and then you get the first Last of Us on PS7. It's like, it's funny, Neil Druckmann actually commented and he was saying something like, it's hard to work on a game like Intergalactic in secret when you just want to share all the details about it, and people are getting mad at you just saying like, wait, another remake? Astrobot with Game of the Year too. I haven't played it yet, but honestly, from what all my buddies are saying, it totally deserved it. So many of the clips that I've seen of Astrobot and just watching my buddies play it in the Discord, it boasts probably the best physics sims I've ever seen. Like the fact that they can spawn thousands and thousands of little balls and then you can interact with all of them too. That's pretty insane, man. And I feel like people just don't appreciate that. Yeah, that's not going to make the gameplay good, having good physics, but it is quite the technological achievement. But hey, man, I can get down with platformers. I'm a platformer guy now. I haven't played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but I wish that Stellar Blade would have won soundtrack. I think that soundtrack in that game is phenomenal. Metaphor really like swept a lot of categories too. And I haven't played that game, but it's another one that so many of my buddies in the Discord just love so much. And I think it's like a remake of an older game, and they just, I mean, really knocked it out of the park. Obviously, it's cool though. To me, even if a game that I want to win doesn't win, I just love seeing people excited about gaming. And what's so funny to me is when people are watching it and they've just like, they probably played like 3 games this year and they're like, well, why did that win? It's like, how can you expect to understand why a certain game won if you never go out of your comfort zone to experience so many of these games that are releasing every year? Again, dude, we have to convince our loved ones, our friends, that they gotta hop off this game and they gotta pick up, maybe not Metaphor right off the bat, but they gotta pick something else up. I think it's cool that Wukong won the player's choice. I think that game deserved at least one reward. Balatro too, dude. I mean, mobile game and best indie game for a card game, no less. I have yet to play Balatro as well. Like I said, most of my time has been taken up by Yakuza recently, so it's hard for me to play anything else, especially when those games are such a big commitment. Hey, it's all good though, man. If I'm constantly yearning for the finish of each game, then I'm not gonna actually enjoy it. All in all, I'm really excited. 2025 is looking like a stacked year. 2023 was great, and I think that 2024 delivered some amazing games as well. You know, games like Wukong and Stellar Blade and Animal Well, not to mention Shadow of Erdtree, all just fantastic experiences. And I know this year's not even over yet, but yeah, there's no way I'm getting through a lot more new games this year. I mean, maybe. I got a pretty big break from work coming up on the 20th of December. So yeah, there will be some gaming going on. I'm hoping to finish Yakuza 0 and maybe play Kiwami 2. Part of me wants to take a break from those games and maybe play something like Astrobot, or depending on how I am feeling about narrative games, I might play the new Indiana Jones, or I was kind of thinking about playing the Indiana Jones as like a playthrough on this. I'm not sure how long it'll take to beat it, but I think it would be fun considering the fact that Raiders of the Lost Ark is my favorite movie of all time. If I was not a construction worker and making videos, I would have been an archaeologist. When I first saw those movies when I was a kid, the feelings of discovery and like chasing treasures and all that, that always was present in my brain. There's just something so magical about that world, and it had a really big impact on me. You know what might be a good technique for somebody that was confused by the results of the Game Awards? Go through the list of all the nominations and think, which one of these games sounds the most fun? Or what one looks the most fun just visually? Like you look at it and you're like, that character looks cool. I want to play that game. I want to play as that character. Do that and try not to overthink the idea that it's a whole different type of game or gameplay. Try out one of those games and you never know. Your whole perspective on what it means to have fun playing games could change, or it could reawaken that feeling in you that made you love video games in the first place when you were younger. I'm telling you, dude, it's deeper than just pixels. This stuff makes an impact. When you step away from the pew-pews or the 3-point line, you never know the story that could be awaiting you. With that being said, I appreciate you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.